You know, it's easy for our opinions about others to be based upon assumptions and not reality. How can we break down those stereotypes and really build better understanding among people who have maybe a different worldview or come from a different religious background? Well, at the Good Complex podcast, a Christian pastor, Jeff Jones, sat down to get to know Imam Azhar Subedar, an Islamic leader from the same city. Here's part of their conversation.
We have to be mature enough to experience life with our own senses. We are right now we are so we're so immersed in our social media world, our virtual world, our artificial world, where we feel that whatever is said, whatever is stated, whatever is depicted is reality. And in actuality, your own experience may prove you wrong. So I could read about, oh man, Muslims, my God, this is what they did. This is what happened there. Oh my God, they're bad people. So that's what you're making. You're making a judgment, or a judgment is being made for yourself based on what you're being shown. But we have in this city, the amount of religious institutions I've been able to visit in 2019, which I was hoping to continue 2020, 21.
Yeah.
But of course, we know what happened then.
Yeah.
There's almost every denomination of almost every faith here. Like even the Islamic aspect, like we have the Shias, we have the Baha'is, we have the Ahmadis, we have the Ismailis, we have the Sufis, and that's just from the Islamic aspect.
Right.
And then you got the Christians, you have Judaism, how many different synagogues we have here, and there's a lot of wealth of knowledge at our doorstep in this city. All you need to do is go knock the door, pick up the phone and make a call and say, I want to just come and talk. I want to know more. And when you're sitting face to face with someone and you're able to interact with someone who spent their life or a great chunk of their life learning and understanding and teaching and preaching what they believe, now you can get the true side of the story. You're going to get a better side. And then you can judge, okay, I'm reading this, I'm hearing this, but I'm experiencing this. And this is what I would want to resort to. So getting people back to experiencing one another instead of just prejudging one another is a task we all should take on as different segments of this community, because that's going to do away with a lot of those misconceptions and misidentifications that are happening.
And I'm sure that can be as simple as going to lunch or dinner with a coworker who is different than you.
Exactly.
Or serving together alongside, right? It just developing friendship, developing conversation.
Outside the room. So if you can't walk into a mosque, a synagogue, or a church, where you're working, where you're studying, where you're training yourself in your studies or whatever you're doing, you have people of different ethnicities, different backgrounds. They're eating different types of food at lunch when you're eating different types of food.
Right.
Just to start those conversations. It's about breaking the ice, right? Just break the ice, start the conversation, and you don't know where it's going to take you. And I think those are the most fruitful interactions when, as you said, serving together, right? It's a day, it's Thanksgiving, go and serve. Before Christmas, go and do some food project downtown. Whatever is happening, just be a part of it. I think there's amazing work happening in the North Dallas area, also in Plano. Just to be a part of it, you're being enriched in ways you never thought you would.
Yeah, I think it's an Arabic proverb I heard some time ago that it's something like this. Not in Arabic, I can't do that. But it said, better to get to know a person than to hear about a person. And that's what we do a lot of, right? We hear about people. So we have our stereotypes. We sink those stereotypes deeper as we talk about them over there, as opposed to, and what we're really talking about is getting to know a person, having a conversation, friendship. All of a sudden, all those stereotypes disappear.
And you know how those friendships begin? Can I just give a story of that?
Yeah.
So back in the days, in 2014 or 2015, I was invited to All Angels Presbyterian Church on Longboat Key. Longboat Key is a beautiful area outside of Sarasota.
Sounds like it.
Oh, it's just phenomenal. It's like heaven on earth. And I was there and I was asked to talk about Islam. So there was 2 sessions. The first one was kind of like an introduction. It went really good. Majority of the individuals who were participants there were just senior citizens, retired people, and they were very respectful and cordial. The second time I came around, after the pastor and them, they had gone through their 6 weeks of Islam, whatever they were studying, we had a lot of questions. And one of the persons in attendance, he was Jewish because next door to the church was a synagogue. And he put his hand up. I took his question, and he had a very sharp question. A question that got everyone everyone's gobsmacked. How did you say that? Are you asking that? Because they felt that there are certain lines that, we'll just be respectful, not cross those lines. And he just threw a blunt question right there, right?
Yeah.
He threw a wrench into everything. And I was not taken aback. I was somewhat happy because I always tell people when I do my programs on Sharia law, I talk a lot about Sharia law. I actually lectured last month at Nova University in Davie, Florida. I gave him an answer because one thing I tell everyone is, look, there's no question below the belt. Just ask, let's talk. So he asked his question. I answered his question. He was taken aback, according to his words. He later on invited me for a session in his center. He has a learning center. He's not his, but he participates and he lectures there. He's a former prosecutor. We started becoming friends. And he was actually studying the Quran because of a case he had to handle many, many years ago before 9/11. Long story short, we ended up doing a joint session on the Quran in front of over 700 people at USF Sarasota, which then led to us contemplating, and the demand was high, contemplating writing a book on Sharia law from both aspects. We've written the book. It's in its second phase of edits right now. And just yesterday, he sent a part that he wanted to insert at the end of the book. And when I read that part, it just brought me to tears because it was a confession. He wrote it as the confession of an Islamophobe.
Okay.
And he considered himself an Islamophobe because he harbored thoughts of the faith I practice as something being detrimental to his existence as an American, as a Westerner, as Jewish. And it was just so touching because he, and again, it's not about me, it's just that he saw that our interaction, our human interaction, not only dispelled so much of those rumors that he had harbored, but it enlightened him in ways that he was never able to enlighten himself before. And that's exactly what human interaction does. If you're going to work alongside somebody or with someone as a team member of a project for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days of the week, whatever you're doing, why not get to know each other? I think that's where a lot of the problems we have today and the inability to make real judgments, like strong, sane, stable judgments, that would all be gone. It's like you're scraping away all the snow and the ice off your car. That's the first thing you do before you get your car out of the driveway when it's snowing. You have to get the snow off your car first, and that fogs you up. If you're not going to remove that snow, you're not going to be able to drive with clear sight and make good judgment.
Yeah.
And so we're driving today with a lot of muck, mud, grime, and love bugs. If you've been to Florida, it's something called love bugs. They just kind of pelt your car everywhere, and if you keep them on too long, the acid from their body erodes the paint. So you just have to wash it all off. And so again, that interaction is something the City of Excellence, which is Plano, has put itself on the pedestal to do just that. And again, I thank you for actually doing this because you're the one who reached out to me, and I should have reached out to you, but this is amazing.
That was just part of a really fascinating conversation. If you would like to catch the whole thing, follow the link. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for other great conversations around mental health and cultural topics and a lot of important issues.